So I'm gonna talk about this job that I had. Uber. Working at Uber. I actually did a video on this, but I'm gonna transition it into working for Uber Eats, which was much better. So working for Uber, just the things that made me feel after a while, just working for a company like this, where it was just the risks just seemed way too high. It just seemed like it's something I shouldn't be pursuing in the long term. And I did Uber for several years. So the fact that I did this job for several years meant that the risk was not as high as I thought it was at the time. So I was doing Uber, and I'm not going to lie, it was fun. Uber can be really, really fun, to be honest, when you first start doing it, right? So I was meeting new people. I was, seeing new faces, getting used to the job, getting used to driving, getting used to understanding the job, understanding when there's a surge period. And the surge period is a period when you work with Uber. The surge period is a time where it's a specific time where your rates increase. So you're able to get a higher pay, which was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. But the thing is, you can't really determine when there's going to be a surge. That was the problem that I faced. Thank you for coming in. That was the problem that I faced. It was like, all right, I'm gonna work Uber. I'm gonna see how much money I can get from this, and I'm going to be consistent with it. But it didn't always work out that way. And it got to a point where it was like, all right, so I see that Uber has me driving from this point to all the way down there. And then they pay me $3 for that. So I started to really think about it. And I'm like, is this really truly worth it? First of all, you're using your own vehicle, you're wasting your own gas, you have to maintain your vehicle, right? You got to maintain it in order to do this job. So that means they're not paying for any of these things. And if you live in a certain area where there's tolls, forget about it. You're paying for your tolls. So all of those things increased. When you really think about it and you really look at how much of your personal money that you're spending doing Uber, you're spending more money than you're actually earning. And that really started to get to me. I really started to understand that after a while. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for me to continuously do Uber and I'm not getting a profit. Because some jobs, I'm gonna be honest, thank you for everyone who's joining. I'm talking about Uber, working for Uber. And to be honest, I started to really think about it. And I was like, I'm spending more of my personal money than actual money that I'm actually profiting from. I'm gonna say that again. I'm actually spending more of my personal money than my actual profit from Uber. And I was like, nah, something is wrong. Something is wrong. There is no way you should be working a job where you're spending more money than the profit is coming into your pocket. It makes absolutely no sense. And I started to think about it and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. What's up, Donna? How you doing? But it's like crazy. Like I started to really think about it and I'm like, all of these things that we're doing for Uber. First of all, there's times where Uber will send you on some crazy journey. And I'm talking about crazy journey. Thanks for subscribing, Donna. I appreciate it. They'll send you on some wicked journey. And then you'll get paid maybe $10. So as you keep driving for a service like this, you really start to really evaluate what you just got paid for the amount of mileage that you're covering. So now you're like, I just got paid $10 for over 15-mile drive. So now you're thinking, does that make any sense? Because now you got to go fill up. You got to use that same $15 that you earned to put back into your tank. And I just started to think, like, this doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't, because you are using your own vehicle, like I said, and you're not getting enough profit in order to be profitable in the future. So it just really didn't make any sense. So what I did after a couple years of working this job, you'd be surprised, I actually did stay and work this job, desperate times, but I transitioned into Uber Eats. Uber Eats, that was an experience. Uber Eats was definitely better than Uber. I can honestly tell you that. Uber Eats, at least you're able to drive your car to someone's location, drop off food, and then you can end your shift. So you don't have to worry about someone, a stranger, getting into your car. You don't have to worry about any of those things. You can just deliver your food to them and get your profit. Now, mind you, the profit still was not as good. The profit still was not as good. So it was kind of similar with Uber. Like, a lot of times you'll be driving certain distances and you realize, wait a minute, this is not even enough money. Like, I just drove this distance all the way down there, like 5 miles, and then they only give you like $8. And I'm like, what? So honestly, these kind of jobs, you got to take it as a grain of salt. Like, you got to work these jobs for whatever goal that you have, and then move on up to something else. Because honestly, these jobs are not long-term jobs. Yep, it is crazy. I see what you're saying, Donna. It is crazy. Like, a lot of these jobs will pay you very little for a lot of work that they're expecting out of you. And it gets to a point where it's just like, all right, I'm tired of being taken advantage of like this. I gotta cut this out. So I worked Uber Eats, I would say, for maybe, how long did I work this job for? I think I worked it for about, actually, a couple of months. I think I worked it. Yeah, I worked Uber Eats for a couple of months. I'm surprised because Uber, I worked for a couple of years when I was living in New York. That one I worked way longer. But Uber Eats, that was more so, all right, I'm tired of Uber. Let me do something differently. Let me see if this plans out for me. And from Uber Eats, I transitioned into what's the other food delivery place? DoorDash. There we go. I went from Uber Eats, I went to DoorDash, and there was another one, but I don't remember the name. But it was another delivery place. Like, you could deliver items, you could deliver food. There's so many of these delivery places. You just got to find one that's will benefit you for the time being that you need. Uber Eats was one of those things. I remember one experience I had, and I was delivering to a college campus. And I remember I was delivering to this college campus. I called the person up. I called him. I said, I got your food. It's ready. It's downstairs. Because I remember I couldn't find their exact location. That's what it was. So when you can't find a customer, you call them up and you tell them, hey, listen, I'm downstairs. Where exactly are you located? So a lot of times, based on my experience, I couldn't find the customer. So a lot of times I'll be calling them, leaving them a voicemail, telling them I'm downstairs. And what I would do, I would give them maybe about, let me see, how long did I give them? I think I gave them about 5 to 8 minutes. I would wait. Most people wouldn't wait. A lot of people, if you're not downstairs or wherever you are towards the person that's delivering your food, they're out. Because they take your food and they just keep it. And they deliver to the next person. So I actually gave people a chance to get their food. I gave them a chance. But for some reason, not all customers will pick up their phone. It could be due to reception issues. It could be due to them doing something different. But I actually gave customers a chance. I waited about maybe 5 minutes or so. And a lot of customers did not pick up their phone. They never returned my call. They never said, "Oh, let me see where he's at so I can get my food." Nope. So it always came down to, you know, what kind of customer that you have when you're doing these kind of jobs. But in the long run, it was good for what it did, honestly. Let me see what you're saying. They pay for the food already. Yep. So the food is already paid for. So once the order comes in on your phone, basically the food is already paid for. So all you're doing is showing the restaurant that you're going to. They give you like a card with certain information on it. This was more specifically for DoorDash. You show them the card, they scan it, whatever, and then they give you your food. And that's when you go to deliver it to the customer. So the food is already paid for. So me personally, if I pay for food, I'm going to have my phone near me. I'm not going to put my phone down and go walk down the street to the store. I'm not doing that. So I don't know what these customers were doing when I made phone calls to them, but it just got down to a point where it was like, all right, do you want your food? Well, they never get their money. Nope, they don't. Once you put down that money, that's it. But I think there may be cases where they're able to get a refund. But in this case, I think once they pay the money for it and I'm coming out there to deliver food, then I don't think they can get a refund in any way, like not like that at least. But DoorDash was cool. Honestly, it was cool. It was cool for the time being. And it's honestly like a great hustle, but it's a short-term hustle. So if you're trying to save up for something that's significant in the future, I wouldn't suggest DoorDash because it's only a short-term goal for something that's more so quick pocket change. If you're trying to save up for something significant, then I would suggest something different. I wouldn't suggest DoorDash or Uber, or those are quick money, don't get me wrong. But when you're looking for like a lot of money, these are not the jobs that I would suggest. But Donna, thank you so much for joining in. Thank you for subscribing. I'm going to be back on here a little later. Take care, guys. I appreciate you.